All right, welcome back. I'm Jesse McCollum here for Everlast. We've got our brand new PulseWave 300 cleaning only system. So if you've seen our Red Saber 1500, the Red Saber 2000, the laser welder cleaners, this is on its surface is going to look much more simple because there's not as much going on with the machine itself. It's just a cleaning unit. Once we get into showing you the programming, it's actually a lot more complicated. There's a lot more customization you can do on the cleaning side. Again, this is just a cleaning only laser, so the gun looks quite a bit different. Doesn't really look like any gun you've ever seen before. But yeah, really simple setup. We're just going to go through just a first setup, kind of a unboxing more so, just showing you how to hook everything up, what it comes with, and how to make your first run with this new PulseWave cleaner. So let's get started. All right, now that we've gone over everything the machine comes with, you're going to need your keys. Going to go ahead and flick the power switch on the back of the machine. Take our key, turn the unit on. Now we're not getting power indication. That's because we're still we need to reset our emergency alarm. So unit starts booting up. Here we are. So it'll come up to the cleaning mode. That's all this unit does is clean. So now we've got our power settings and our swing settings. So go ahead and let's remove the protective lens off our gun. Now you want to be very careful with this because this is a big lens. You don't want to drop it. Obviously, you don't want to drop the gun itself, but you do want to protect that lens. So when you're not using the gun, it is important to keep this safety cap in place. All right, so we don't have too many options on this page. We have a power button. This is our files button is for saved programs. Um, if you get a certain parameter that you do like once you're playing with the gun, you can save it to these different files. Our swing settings are going to be our actual laser beam itself. So we've got a couple different shapes. We can do lines, we can do like a wavy pattern, we can do kind of this spiraling flower pattern. We've got an infinity symbol that kind of spins as it goes along. Different types of the way the laser scans. So one of these, it'll scan across and then it'll scan up, scan across and scan up. Some of these, it'll do a zigzag in a circular shape. So you kind of have to play with these to see what shape works best for what you're doing. Today, we're just going to use this kind of wave shape, almost like a Celtic knot is what it looks like. But we'll stay on this wave shape. You can adjust in this control panel. You can adjust the size of that actual scan width. You can control how fast if it's a rotating wave shape, you can control how fast it rotates. You can also control from the other side. On our power side, this is where you control your frequency, your actual power in percentage. It's not going to be in wattage, it's going to be in percentage. It's a 300 watt machine, so 50% power is 150 watts. Pretty simple setup. Your frequency, we can go super high on our frequency. Right now we're at 1,000 hertz. We can go up to 20,000 hertz, and that's how fast the laser scans back and forth. We have our air on and air off delays, as well as our pulse width, so this is a pulse wave laser, not a continuous wave like our welding units, like this 1500 here in the background. This is a continuous wave laser. This is a pulse wave laser. So these are meant only for cleaning, but you control that pulse width as well. But right now, we're just going to do a first setup. So we're at 1,000 hertz frequency, 100% power. Check our swing real quick. We're on kind of this, like I said, Celtic knot kind of looking. And when it's actually running, it's actually like a little wave shape. So we'll go ahead and select that. We'll come back. So now we're basically ready to run other than our PPE. So let's go ahead, suit up real quick. I've got my camera guy with his glasses on, so he's ready to go. Get my welding jacket on. Just give this a quick button. All important laser safety glasses. Get my gloves on. Now for this unit, you want to hit your sway button. So that's going to have us to where we can check our actual, and it's hard to see with your glasses on, so you can check it with your glasses off. This is just like a laser pointer, so it's not actually your laser beam, it's just showing you where the beam's going to be and what it looks like. So we've got that on. We go to turn our laser on, it'll tell us make sure there's nothing behind the laser that we don't want to hit. We clear that menu, and we are actually ready to run now. And this gun is set up for a double click on the trigger, so you'll press and hold, and it starts firing. And we'll get a close-up of this beam once we get set up a little bit. But we can run through some different wave shapes, and we'll do a little test to show you the difference between this PulseWave laser and the continuous wave on some really delicate stuff. That's where this thing really comes into its own. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to change to just a straight line for our beam. So we select our straight line, go back, sway, laser on, warning. All right, so now instead of a wave shape, we've got just a straight line. And we're going to do a double click. There we go. And on this gun, there's these two little points right here are actually a beam that crosses, and that's your focal point. So when you pull the trigger, those two lights get closer and further apart, and that tells you where your focal distance is. So we'll get a close-up on that here in a second to show you what I'm talking about. But you can see right here my two little dots come together, so that's going to be my focal distance here. So we've got our little dot here. We pull the trigger, we get our two dots. That's our focusing point. Right as they come together, that's going to be our focal distance. So we double click. Oh, I don't have it turned on. That's why. So single pull, there's our focusing laser. Double pull, and now we're running. And you can see those focusing dots as you're running along. So it'll keep you in your correct focal length as we're running. So obviously it works, we've shown you it works well on rust. Where these things really shine is on delicate stuff. So we can actually remove the ink off this cardboard with this laser. So let's go in here real quick. We're going to go back to that wave shape setting. Let's go over to our power. We're going to knock this down. Let's do 60%. And we're going to bump up our frequency to 20,000. Hit our sway button. So now it's showing us what the laser is going to look like. We hit our laser power button, so now we're armed. Let's go ahead and get suited back up. So we come in, single pull, find our focal point. I need to turn my power up just a little bit, but we are pulling ink off of this cardboard without burning the cardboard. It's just taking a little bit longer than what I'd like. So let's go ahead and turn our laser off, turn our sway off. Let's go back to our laser power. So we'll turn this back up to 100%. So now our sway is armed, our laser is armed. Now let's try this again. So we're going to remove this ink off of the cardboard. And we can do this on paper too. We can actually remove ink off of printer paper and not burn up the paper, just remove the ink. So there we go. We're removing ink off the cardboard. Without actually burning up the cardboard underneath. So people that are interested in a laser cleaner to remove varnish and paint off of wood, the PulseWave is going to be what you're looking at. So you can see there, we're actually remove that ink off the cardboard without burning up the cardboard itself. We can even go over to, since we're at 100% power, we've got some, this is like a heavy Krylon. It's just spray paint. We've got some painted aluminum. So arm everything again. Again, find our focal point. I've got my frequency up really high, which is why we're not getting much heat input. So that's where all the adjustments on this really come into play. So while we are removing the paint, which we did this little spot right here in the center, it did take a little bit. So let's go back to the settings, show you how just changing that frequency will make a pretty big difference. So turn our sway off. We're going to go over to our power setting. So we're at 20,000 hertz. We're going to go down to 1,000 hertz. Arm our sway, arm our laser, clear our warning screen. So we've made no power adjustment. This is all frequency adjustment. It's going to make a pretty big difference on how fast it removes this paint. So you see a much faster removal now. And the nice thing is, it's cool to the touch, so a lot faster on our actual paint removal just by adjusting that frequency. No wattage adjustment, purely frequency. So with this black, we can really see what that laser beam is doing. So let's go back and change our sway again, just to show you guys. Let's pick this one. We'll show you some of the different options. They're a little bit easier to see when we have a darker background like this. So now we're all armed, we're ready to go. I'm gonna pull our trigger. So you see this just scans back and forth. And here we are, pretty quickly and effortlessly removing paint off this aluminum. So again, nice shiny surface underneath, just burns the paint right off, doesn't affect our base material at all. Let's go, we've got a bunch of wave shapes. I'll show you one more, and what we'll do is we'll turn on our 1500 red saber, and we'll go ahead and show you a comparison on the different cleaning modes between these two lasers and what sets this one apart from the continuous wave. So let's do one more swing adjustment. Let's come down here. We'll do this one. Go back. Sway's armed. Laser's armed. One more real quick run. And then we'll switch units. So again, we come down. So you see we've got a bunch of different sway patterns as far as what the laser is doing while it's scanning. So this does a real quick scan up. And as far as it goes up, it brings another beam back across that's that wide as well. So you kind of do a move and pause is your best course of action for this one. So move up, let it scan across. Again, real quick paint removal off this aluminum. So now we've seen what the PulseWave does. Let's go ahead and hook back up our continuous wave. We'll put on the cleaning mode and kind of show you how these two differ real quick. So we'll be back in just a second. All right, so now we switched around our units. We're actually running our Red Saber 1500. We've got our same style of control panel set up right here. So you can see, let's go down through our settings. So we are at 300 watts peak power. We're at 2000 hertz frequency. So let's go down just to make all things equal. Let's set that to import, save, return. So now we're at 300 watts, which is what we were at over here at 1000 hertz, 300 watts at 1000 hertz. So let's see the difference between these two units on our test piece of cardboard where we were moving the ink and our aluminum here. So with the 1500, we come down. You can see we pretty much instantly just set the cardboard on fire. Even at the same wattage, same frequency, it's just instantly. While we are burning the ink, we also just immediately start setting the cardboard on fire. So that's one of the big differences between the PulseWave 300 and the continuous wave Red Saber 1500 is that the continuous wave is a lot more destructive to organic materials than the PulseWave 300 is. We know this one works really well on painted surfaces, especially this black spray paint, but again, we'll go ahead and show you comparison real quick. So at 300 watts and 1000 hertz, we don't get nearly the same cleaning ability as the PulseWave. So while we can bump up our output wattage and burn this off a lot faster than what that was, which we'll show you right now. So I'm going to turn this up. Let's go up to 600 watts. We'll make another quick run. Now we're burning off that paint a lot better. You can see we've got quite a bit of fume from that spray paint coming off. Now, while we did remove that paint, you can see we actually etched the material. So the continuous wave is going to be a lot more destructive to your base materials than the PulseWave will. So that's one of the huge benefits of the PulseWave versus the continuous wave. So if someone is in the market for a laser cleaner system, they're going to be cleaning, delicate, like thin sheet metal, or even cleaning, no one's going to be cleaning cardboard, but if you are looking to restore furniture and remove varnish or paint off of wood without damaging that wood, the PulseWave is going to be what you want to look at. The continuous wave, while it will clean, it's really meant for heavier, like industrial applications, removing thick, scale rust, where you're not so much worried about damaging the base material as much, and then really more so for the welding side itself. So something to keep in mind if you are looking at lasers. We've got a bunch of different options for the continuous wave from 750 on up to 3000 watt. The PulseWaves, this one's a 300. We're going to be coming out with a 200 and a 300 watt PulseWave laser. So these are on the site now. Be sure to check them out. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call. My name's Jesse McCollum. You can reach me at the main office number, extension 223. I handle all of our laser technical questions, sales questions, even setting up demos here in our Kansas City facility. So if you want to get a hold of me, please feel free to reach out. I'll answer any question you have, and maybe we can even set up a demo here in Kansas City for you. I'm Jesse McCollum with Everlast Welders. Remember, weld mean, weld green.